Good morning, everyone. Holden Moore 1776, and today we're going to be talking about focus and discipline. Recently, I've been watching this YouTube channel who I don't remember the name, so it'll be in the description, but really it's just this AI voice over some Japanese art talking about Miyamoto Musashi. And this Miyamoto Musashi character, don't know if he's real, doesn't really matter. The legend is that he was this warrior who was never defeated, he was a constant student, Just think of like the peak Japanese warrior, he doesn't lose, he sits there, he's focused, he's disciplined, right? Kind of that thing. And the two biggest things that I took from this YouTube channel were accepting reality as they are, well, as it is, and returning your focus to the task at hand. So the first one, accepting reality as it is exactly what it sounds like. It's very simple. Accepting reality as it is. You need to genuinely look at what you're doing. A good example of this is there is a car salesman who he's not where he wants to be. He doesn't he's not having a good month. He's not selling cars. He's not making money, and that's an issue. And he gets bitter about it. He gets angry about it. And okay, well, if management would do this, if management would do that, if these people would stop taking my leads, if these customers would, be better, if they would stop wasting my time, right? That that's harmful. Just immediately that's harmful. What that salesman needs to do is look at reality. Okay, is he doing the things that need to be done to sell cars? Okay, let's go to scenarios. Scenario A, he's not. He's not prospecting. He's being super picky with customers. He's not following the steps of the sale. He's not following the correct process. Okay, in that scenario, he is at fault, and he is not, by deluding himself, by thinking, it's the customer's fault, it's management's fault, it's Subaru's fault, you know, it's the car manufacturer's fault for making shitty cars or whatever. By thinking those things, by blaming everyone around him, he's never going to get anywhere because that means that everyone around him has to make him successful. He can't do anything, and that's horrible, right? Scenario B, he is doing the things. He is prospecting. He's prospecting. He's going after the customers, after qualified customers. Um, he's he's doing what he needs to do. He's posting on social media. He's learning. He's doing all the things that he needs to do. He's just not selling cars. Let's not pretend that maybe there are some external factors that are preventing your success. I don't know. Maybe maybe there's something wrong where there's just not a lot of people buying. Okay, maybe you're getting stuck with a lot of shitty customers that aren't qualified, right? A lot of 500 credit scores, a lot of very low income. Nothing wrong with these people, but you can't necessarily help them sell a car or buy a car. You you would have to scam the shit out of them to sell them a car, right? There's no good way to handle that situation, right? Maybe that is happening. And in scenario B, he has to be at peace with that. You know, you have to think, is there anything that I can do to make this better? You know, in scenario B, you kind of have two more, is there anything I can do to make this better? Maybe I do have to do more. Okay, maybe I'm doing everything right. And shit's just, it's just shitty right now. But you know what? There's something else I can do. You, then you have to go do that. Okay. But you know what? Hey, listen, I'm doing what I need to do, and there's not really much else I can do without compromising what I'm already doing. Then you know what? You have to accept that, right? You just have to accept, okay, you know what? I'm I'm doing this. I'm doing shit right. I'm not doing anything wrong, and it's just shitty time right now. You have to accept that. That is accepting reality as it really is, right? Now, let's move on to the second concept I picked up. So, the second concept, returning your focus to the task at hand. So, a lot of people, well, I say a lot of people, at least I struggle with, focus, just kind of like squirrel. Um, but you need to you need to learn to not necessarily force focus. It's kind of like water. You can't force water to flow in a direction. You just have to kind of, move the dirt around it to kind of shape where you want it to go. And sometimes it's going to run off, but you just got to kind of scoop it back, and you have to try and guide it to where you want to go. You have to guide the flow to where you want to go. And that's kind of that's a really good image for me, at least. You can't force a river to go anywhere. You have to guide it. You have to guide your attention stream into something, right? And if it veers off, which it will, you can't waste more time and energy and focus, you know, beating yourself up because you got off task, right? If you are trying to sit there and meditate for 30 minutes and it seems like every 3 seconds you constantly veer off, well, you're not going to do any better if you veer off and you spend 5 minutes, you know, worrying about how you veered off and how that's going to mess up your meditation than if you would have just redirected your attention. Yeah, you're distracted for, let's say, 2 minutes, and then you're just, oh, you know what? I was distracted. Now I'm back. Right? That's a lot quicker than spending an extra 5 minutes. Oh my gosh, holy shit! I can't do this. This is fucking ridiculous. How can these? That shit does not help. Okay, a good example for what I do is if I'm sitting there and it's my time of the day where I'm gonna wait for people to walk in the door because I'm a floor salesman. I'm waiting for people to walk in the door. You know what? I get distracted by Instagram sometimes. It's bad. It's not great. But you know what? I'm not going to do anything by sitting there, oh my gosh, dude, I got distracted by Instagram again. Holy shit, what am I going to do? And then someone walks in the door and another salesman gets it. And, I'm over there, right? Where, okay, I'm sitting there, I'm focused, I'm waiting on people to come in. Okay. Oh, I look to answer. You know what? Hey, no, right? I return a lot quicker than, holy shit, dude, what am I doing looking at, kind of keeping your chin up, right? Don't focus on yourself, focus on the task at hand, right? And try to create an atmosphere and an environment where you can focus, right? That's part of guiding your attention flow, your attention stream to the task at hand. If you are trying to meditate or you are trying to sit there and wait, it's just a waiting game. Get your phone away from you. I can't necessarily do that at work. I can't go leave my phone on the other side of the showroom, right? But you know what? If you're meditating, then go put your phone in the living room and go to your room or something. Um, you know what? If you can get away with it, just delete Instagram. Just delete that shit. Um, but try and remove the distraction, or at least make the barrier to entry for the distraction very hard. If I have to go open up a lockbox to get my phone, to open my phone, to open Instagram, that's a lot harder to do. And I'm not going to get distracted by Instagram so much because you know what? Hey, I can stop myself when I'm trying to, you know, it's not easily accessible. Accepting reality as it truly is and guiding your focus stream are two of the biggest ideas that I have taken away recently, and to the most helpful things, right? Accepting reality as it truly is. Don't let your fear control you. Don't let your success blind you. Guiding your attention stream, it not forcing focus, but creating a proper environment for it to flow. If that makes any sense. And both of these take practice and time. Catch y'all later.